Hello and welcome to the Idiot Book Nook podcast. My name is Blazewing. My pronouns are they, them.
I am the reading dragon, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Lady Punnet. My pronouns are primarily she, her, sometimes they, them. Today is a
Today's a what?
they, them.
And I'm Kudashai. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. Today's a her day.
We're talking about The Thief from the Queen's Thief series by Megan Whalen Turner. But before we get into our discussion portion for Chapter 7, if you'd like to follow us on our social media, you can do so at lanktr.ee/idiotbooknook. You'll be able to find links to our podcast, to our YouTube, to our Twitch, and all of our individual socials and everything else we've got going on the net. And come visit us in other places and see what we're up to. With that being said, what did we think of Chapter 7?
Embiotes proves that he continues to be a dick with no knowledge of what an actual consequence is.
I want to know who the fuck set up Jen. I have my doubts.
True.
I have my suspicions. But it's either like somebody was sloppy in packing or and like forest animal or something like that, or it's Embiotes.
Here's the thing. I think there's a chance, yes, most likely the obvious choice is Embiotes. I think maybe Sophos might have had something to do with it. Because Sophos himself stated he was still hungry even after eating, and Sophos is stated to be the smallest of the group. So he might be going through a late stray growth spurt. Because if he's a teenager and he's around that age where teenagers go through, especially because he's a teenage boys go through that weird state sometimes, like in their late teens, where
It's
all of
not
a
just in
sudden,
their late teens. It's pretty much from birth. Trust me.
well, yeah, but where all of a sudden they're like the shortest of the
Ginormous?
short, but then
Yeah.
over the course of a month, they somehow grow like 6 inches.
Yeah.
Really? Because that's what happened to me. And I'm a lady.
I think the only thing that I think makes that least likely is there's no way that Sophos could live with the guilt.
That is
It
true.
would be written all over him. I don't think he's a good enough liar, and he's too much of a bean. I know Dragon's eating her chocolate right there, being like, "Bitch, I know who it is, but I can't tell y'all." Face.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But also, I mean, most likely it was Embiotes because each of them are taking turns watching during the night, so most likely the food was eaten during the night, so someone neglected their duties.
I want to know who was on watch that night.
Well, they take turns.
Yes, I want to know who was on watch.
Like the order of the watch, I guess.
Because the other thought I had was it wasn't somebody from the group.
You mean like there might be another person or being following them?
Or
Well,
could it just been a passerby who was starving? But to make such a big deal of it, I seriously doubt that's going to be the thing.
I mean, the Magus did say that he thought he saw a fire in the distance or something like that. So that could have been some kind of foreshadowing. But like you said, I think it's not impossible. Like I said, it could have been just like a squirrel went in there and just had a feast. Like,
Or, maybe some other type of forest creature. Like, who's to say there aren't, like, raccoons? Or some type of. I don't know if raccoons are found anywhere outside of the northern United States, but,
I'm not sure of
do you
that.
know they have a beaver problem in Germany?
They have a beaver problem in Germany?
Yeah, they were originally imported as for like pelts and stuff. And yeah, I know, try not to giggle. But and then as it happens, some got out, and now
As they
they're
do.
everywhere. The beaver takes over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Embiodes, I
That's what
find
she
though,
said.
Embiodes I'm finding is becoming a lot more bold with his obvious dislike of Jin.
Yeah, like that's like dude, are you like I feel like cruising for a bruising is the expression at this point. Like
Oh, you're about to catch some hands.
I hope so, cuz like I said, he's getting like abusive to
Well,
everybody.
yeah, he
Like, not so
really
much Sophos, but yeah.
no Sophos too, because he's trying to show superiority over him, and he won't let him. Here's the thing: when all of a sudden they're like, "We'll warm up as we go," the inner dancer in me was cringing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, "Oh, you mean warm up and get hurt as you go."
Yeah, because when I was in high school, I had this dance teacher that we had to do at least 10 minutes of stretching before we did like anything. Like, and if we were caught like not doing the stretching, then we would be forced to add on like an extra however many minutes of stretching, which would of course cut in time to our actual dance lessons, which in high school we don't have a lot of time to begin with. But like I was just cringing, thinking, "Oh no, you always finish your stretches before you move on, because otherwise that's how you get hurt, and there's a reason you do these things."
Hell, I myself try to do at least 30 minutes of yoga and stretching every day. It's
Mhm.
been really great for my lower back and my I don't know if it is a sciatica or anything like that, but like the pain that happens on like one side of your lower back and how it kind of like travels down your glute and like the backside of your leg.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been doing yoga and stretches to help with that because I noticed that I hyper flex or I hyper tense my right leg and my right glute most of the time.
So you guys are saying that Bionese needs to start doing yoga and chill a little bit.
I don't think yoga would help him at this
He's
point
too
with all of this
impatient for
being
yoga.
introduced. He's too impatient for yoga, and if he doesn't see a point in how it will help him in the future, he won't do it. We've seen that
Oh
in
yeah,
his
that's
character design
very true.
and his how he's portrayed himself thus far. If it's
Now,
not
so
gonna like Sophos is good. Sophos is fine. He's more willing. No, cat. You're not allowed on the computer desk.
yeah, Sophos would be probably overjoyed at the prospect of yoga.
Physical activity he'd actually enjoy. Okay, so
Yeah,
back on
right.
track. Uh, what do you guys think of this whole like? So what? Jen has to go down into like a volcano? What?
Well, we don't know where he is. They're in what's basically like a dystopia land, which makes sense. But at the same time, if there's nothing there for him to steal, like he literally said there's nothing there.
So like, is he going spelunking?
So,
Like,
so
If he's going Mm.
go ahead.
Well, here's the thing though. We didn't hear anything about a cave or anything. We heard of like some like rivets and stuff in the ground, but like Jin, to our knowledge, isn't built for spelunking.
This thing that they're looking for disappeared, right?
Yeah.
We come to this area of basically solidified lava.
Mm-hmm.
The Arachthis.
Makes me wonder if our object's not buried. Not
You think it's
spelunking.
up?
No, not
like some
spelunking.
you're thinking Pompeii style.
Yes.
That's a good thought. I hadn't considered that at all until you
I'm
started
thinking
saying it. I'm like,
it's
oh yeah.
in the lava flow. We also don't know what this area was like before. before. We don't
This
know
is
how
true.
fertile these lands were. We don't know if there were settlements. We don't know if there were buildings or people that lived here.
I will say this, the area of which they are in, there is no activity, like nothing lava or volcano related is currently active.
currently
That's good. Currently,
being
yeah.
keyword.
Currently.
Let me
Wouldn't
scroll.
it be more fertile though? Because here's the thing, volcanic ash is actually super good
Yes,
for growing things. So shouldn't there be like grass and stuff instead of barren wasteland?
there is. It pops up in clumps.
Right now,
Yeah.
everything is still covered by the flow. There hasn't been enough erosion or
Yeah.
flow in order to break down most of the masses.
It is the dystopia, said the Magus. We'll stop here for the night. He explained as Pole cooked dinner that the dystopia was the remains of boiling rock that had poured out of the sacred mountain thousands of years before. The ground was rich with minerals, but it was too hard to allow plants to take root. It was difficult to cross and impossible to build a road through. It was empty as any piece of land in the entire world. However, later on... One second. As they're crossing this old lava flow... Where is it? The Magus explained to Sophos that more water moving across the lava could break it down into rich soil, but this area was higher than Sea of Olives and only had one river, the Araxis. Where is it? Here it is. There was no trail at all. We picked our way between and over the rumpled slabs of porous black rock. We carried our own water. There was none flowing in the dystopia, but there must have been some in the ground because grasses grew in clumps and bushes in large clusters. So it's not completely devoid of life. It looks like it's broken up. It's just covering most of the area.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm curious because I think we had... Oh, apparently we didn't.
We didn't what?
I thought we had a map at the beginning. Some books will include like a landscape map for a geographical reference. This one doesn't have one.
That's
I
too
love
bad. I
it when
always
they
love
include
those.
geographical references.
That way you can
Yeah,
like
always.
follow along with your story as it moves throughout the lands.
I might be able to pull one up. Hold on.
Like what they did with the hobbitses.
Yep. What else do we got for thoughts?
We now know that Paul isn't employed by the Magnus. He's employed by Sophos's father.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not the cruel uncle that I thought he was. He is not Uncle Iroh. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure how much hired guard / potential uncle figure it is at this point. But we now know for sure he is doing everything in his power to make sure nothing happens to Sophos.
Yep.
Which, and apparently he doesn't care what happens to Embiodes. I think he views Embiodes like, okay, you're just like extra.
To be fair,
You're an
after this chapter, I don't really care what happens to Embiodes. I hope he's left out there with the horses for the rest of fucking eternity and turns into a goddamn statue. Fucking dick.
Yeah, he's definitely like I think whatever I think the minute that he started like actually abusing Sophos is when any sort of respect he could have had for Paul just went into the trash. And like his obvious lack of ability to control himself probably puts him pretty low in Paul's totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded weird to say.
I do find it absolutely hilarious that supposedly, from the way things were framed, Pole may have torn a fucking strip off of Embiodes because they went off to talk and he came back really fucking ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So, in the general chat, I have posted the map of the world that is depicting the Queen's Thief series.
Let me open this in a new browser. Sorry, yawning.
Courtesy of Megan Whalen Turner.tumblr.com.
Cool.
So it's making me wonder though, like, well, yeah, what did Pohl say? Because I imagine Pohl does have like quite a bit of standing, because not anyone can just be captain of the guard. So either he's proven himself with enough metal through his various acts in the military service, or he has some sort of backing with it. Like, for example, maybe he comes from a long line of generals or captains and whatnot.
I have a feeling it's probably a little of both with somebody like that, so far from what I've gathered from like his character and everything that he said.
This is true. Yeah, I am getting like vibes of him having that little bit of extra stuff behind his backstory.
Yeah, like the kind of guy that was like around when the dad was a kid, kind of thing.
So this map actually depicts that volcano as being active.
Oh.
Funsies, toxic fumes. Woo! It's a good song, but you don't actually want to breathe it in.
Yeah, if you look over at the Sacred Mountains and the Arrakis, the Sacred Mountains, one of the peaks is actually smoking, which depicts that volcano as active. So, anyways, what else have we got?
I know it probably. Oh, I was gonna say, I know it probably won't happen, but I hope that when the Magus finds out that it's not Jen's fault with the missing food, that he gets like some sort of feeling bad, just something.
He won't.
Yeah, I know he probably won't, but it would be nice if he did. It'd be a nice surprise.
It would be nice if he did, but he won't because he's a dick.
Let's not forget here, this is part of, I believe, a still ongoing series?
Well, okay then.
Therefore, I have a possible question for the group. How would you like to change the formatting of our podcast up a little bit?
How so?
If our next book, like if we choose a book and it happens to be a series, we run the series to completion before moving on.
I think it would depend on how long the series is. Like, I know the reason when we first did the Harry Potter, like our first book ever was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and the reason we didn't want to do the full series was because it has 7 books. The last one of which is basically like 3 books into one. And we didn't want to burn ourselves out on the books. So how many books are in the Thieves trilogy? Or is it a trilogy?
Trilogy.
Ha ha
Yeah,
ha! You're funny.
ongoing.
There's 6 books right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else about the story?
Not really. I'm tapped out.
I can't really think of anything aside from the fact that once again I was proven right, and Ambides was going to be a dick along with the Magus, who we still don't have a name for, and Pohl was going to be his stoic self, except he wasn't so stoic. He was very much like a, no, this is what's going to happen. You're not bringing Sophos down. Ambides is going to get his just desserts eventually, and I'm hoping eventually is sooner rather than later.
Well, I mean, if Ambides would spend, 30 seconds stop waving his dick in people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can wave it in somebody's face doesn't mean you have the testicular fortitude to deal with shit. Alright, well, I guess with that being said,
Okay, so I just looked it up. There are 6 books in the series, and it's done. Like, it's completed. The 6th book is called Return of the Thief, and it is the conclusion to the Queen's Thief series. Now, there is a one more book that is a sort of what is it? It kind of helps explain the world of the Queen's Thief. It's called Moira's Pen, a Queen's Thief collection. And then there is World of the Queen's Thief collection, The Thief. Oh, no, it's just a collection of books 1 through 5. But yeah, no, there is like a companion book by Megan Whalen Turner called Moira's Pen.
Well, I guess with that then, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. So I want to thank everybody for coming to join us. Thank you for being here. For this episode of the Idiot Book Nook podcast and Chapter 7 of the Thief from the Queen's Thief series by Megan Whalen Turner, I'm Blazewing.
I am the Reading Dragon.
I'm Lady Punnet.
And I'm Crittershy.